The Dolphins play their best game of the season and dominate the Atlanta Falcons on the road 34-10. The Dolphins came in this game as 6.5-point underdogs. Despite having a ton of injuries on Atlanta's side, no Drake London, no Michael Penix, the Dolphins still found a way to look the best and get their first win of the year. And you have to give a ton of credit. As much as we have bashed Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa, those two, when their backs were at the wall, the entire world was lowest than ever on them. They showed up and gave their best game of the season. And, hey, we haven't been able to do this a ton, so let's do it right now. Spam those W's. It is a Dolphins win. They moved to 2-6. Get those W's in the chat. I know some people might want the Dolphins to lose to get McDaniel fired and a higher draft pick, but let's celebrate the wins when we get them because you don't get a lot of them. Spam those W's. I think our conversation has to begin with QB1, Tua Tagovailoa, who you could make the argument played his worst season of his career last Sunday against the Cleveland Browns when he tallied just 100 yards, a QB rating of like a 24, and he threw 3 interceptions. Where he bounces back, where he apparently had an illness, and he was a late addition to the injury report. His eye was swelling. He wears a visor for the first time in his career in a dome, which doesn't happen often because of the likes and reflection, yet plays his best game of the season, where he just had only 6 incompletions. He threw for 4 touchdowns, a QB rating of 138.6. Like, he wasn't dominant. It wasn't like they beat the Falcons because Tua was airing them out and dominating them through the air. No, but he didn't hurt Miami. I would say the Dolphins won this game because of their ability, to efficiently run the game and play complementary football in all 3 phases. Special teams was great today. Defense was out of this world, and you didn't turn the ball over, and you controlled the line of scrimmage. Can we actually go to our keys to victory today? I had in our keys to victory, the Dolphins will win if, in our pregame show. 4 things. You controlled the line of scrimmage, you create pressure up the middle, RPO them to death, and you had no turnovers. Well, what happened in this game? Did you control the line of scrimmage? Yeah, you did. You had 141 rushing yards. You allowed the Falcons 45 rushing yards. 2.6 yards per carry. The worst run defense in the NFL showed up today and dominated. So did you win the line of scrimmage? Absolutely. Creating pressure up the middle. You only had 1 sack today. I wouldn't really say the Dolphins created a ton of pressure, but it's okay. Didn't happen. I said RPO. Run a lot of the RPOs because the Dolphins had success in the past, faking the run, quick throws, some screen plays. I wouldn't say they ran a lot of RPOs, but when they did find success doing that. No turnovers. They won the turnover battle. Miami had no turnovers. I mean, it was only 1 on Atlanta. Bijan Robinson fumbled inside the red zone, and that turned into a massive swing there where the Dolphins up 17-3. Bijan fumbles on his own merit. He accidentally kneed the ball out of his own hand, and then Miami goes down the field and scores a touchdown to take a, at that point, 24-3 lead. That was the big change in the game. But my number 1 key to winning was controlling the line of scrimmage, and you did that effectively. I mean, can we look at the team stats in this game, Coop? Look at the difference in the Dolphins versus the Falcons. The Dolphins averaged 5.2 yards per play. The Falcons averaged 4.3. The Dolphins held the ball for 37 minutes. Oh my goodness. That is as dominating and as lopsided as I think we have ever seen. I'd like to know the NFL record for time of possession difference. Because in a 60-minute game, you know how difficult it is to essentially have a 16-minute time of possession difference? That just goes back to the point I made earlier about the Dolphins controlling the line of scrimmage. So give a clap up to this O-line. The O-line only allowed 1 sack today, and it was on the first possession of the game. Falcons sent an all-out blitz. Tua got sacked. After that, phenomenal. I think some of the times Tua still had some pressure on him, but the run game was great. And give credit to the play calling of Mike McDaniel and the play designs. They stuck with the run, and they did effectively. They ran the ball 37 times today. Achane had 18 carries. Ollie Gordon had 10. Jalen Wright had 9. Everybody got touches. Everybody was successful running the football. And the Dolphins, I think, they know the script. They know the script. If the Dolphins want to have success in these games on offense and win, they need to not fall behind early, and they need to be able to run the football. When they have the ability to run and they have a balanced offensive attack, they're able to win games. When you fall behind and have to rely on the pass and pass only, and the defense can pin back and rush Tua and send blitzes, you're going to be in trouble. Make sure you are subscribed. We'll be live tomorrow and Thursday for the next game for Miami, Thursday Night Football against the Ravens. We'll be live to celebrate Victory Monday. Videos in between. If you want daily coverage of the Miami Dolphins, this is the channel for you. Subscribe today. Let's talk about the defense, and then we'll get into Mike McDaniel here, because I do think we need to talk about him and what this means for the future of this season. But as much as we gave credit to the offense and Tua in the running game, you held Bijan Robinson, who came into this game, folks, as the number 1 scrimmage yard leader. Number 1. Led the NFL coming into week 8 in yards per game at 150.3. You held Bijan under 50 yards. 48 in total. If you told me before the game Bijan Robinson only tallied 48 total yards, I would have said you're on drugs. I would have called you a dumbass. But that's the type of performance we got from this Dolphins defense. We simply have not seen them put together a game like this. And just like we've said all year, we've bashed Tua, we've bashed McDaniel, we've certainly bashed Anthony Weaver. This was maybe the best defensive game he's had, and I get it. A lot of missing pieces for Atlanta. No Penix, no Drake London. But, this defense dominated, dude. They didn't give any space down the field. These wide receivers couldn't create any separation against the secondary Miami. I thought Rasul Douglas played his best game of the season. And he's been a top 5 graded corner for most of this year by Pro Football Focus. I expect him to have the highest grade out of any Dolphin. I don't know what it will be, but just based off the eye test, I think Rasul Douglas will have the highest grade out of any Dolphins player by PFF when we watch it and see it tomorrow. Because he was displaying tight coverage, had a PBU, and was everywhere. I mean, I just saw elite level play by Rasul Douglas today. And it's nice to see that. I thought Minka Fitzpatrick was great. I thought we saw a good performance from Zach Sealer. I thought we saw a great performance from Jordan Brooks. He was phenomenal again. I mean, it was just a great performance all the way around. And it feels good to be positive for a change. We're going to talk about Mike McDaniel here in a second, but this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every single day. Right decisions on PrizePicks can get you paid. Just so easy to play. Pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and you can cash in. You can also now do stacks on the app, meaning you could pick the same player up to 3 times in your lineup. You could do Devon Achane rush attempts, receptions, touchdowns, all in the same lineup. I did not win my entry in this game because I thought Bijan was going to go crazy. He didn't. Dolphins held him in check. Waddle definitely went more on his receptions. Tua threw a 43-yard touchdown to Waddle, so that one even missed. Either way, join me. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. A lot of people are going to ask, what does this mean for Mike McDaniel's job status? Because we've been calling for him to be fired. Nothing changes. But what it does do is it probably buys Mike McDaniel another month. I really do think it buys him another month. Because you were never going to fire him Monday morning if we lost today. Because the Dolphins play on Thursday Night Football against the Ravens. You can't fire a head coach that quick because it would just be internal chaos. No one knows their job and what they're doing, right? Like, say you fired him and made a head coach, Anthony Weaver head coach. Well, who calls plays? Who installs the offense? Who calls the plays for Miami? It would have just been too chaotic. So you were never firing him Monday morning, even if you lost this game 34-10. But what it does do is I think it provides him more time. Because we have heard consistently how Stephen Ross does not want to fire Mike McDaniel. He likes Mike. He believes in Mike and wants to see if he can turn it around. And it would only happen in the middle of the season if Miami spiraled, the locker room was lost, and the season was just over, and it was just craziness. I thought we were getting to that point of craziness. But to see the Dolphins come out and continue to show self-resolve and fight and internal belief in itself, you got to give credit to Mike for instilling that. I mean, if the Dolphins came out with another lifeless performance like that against Cleveland and you lost 34-10, it's like, okay, you lose to the Ravens on Thursday and that's it. Pack it up. But they have consistently showed fight and resolve all year long. They came out hot against the Panthers. They choked, but they came out hot. They came out hot against the Chargers and unfortunately blew that game. They came out hot today and dominated and won the game. Like, they have not given up. They have not. The defense has continued to play well, play hard. And the offense is trying, right? So this team has not quit on Mike. And even with a loss this week to the Ravens on Thursday night, I do not think they fire him on Friday. I have now changed this. I think the next time the Dolphins could be fired or fire Mike McDaniel is after the Madrid game heading into their bye week. The Dolphins have 3 more games until their bye week. They play the Ravens this Thursday, the Bills the following Sunday, and then the Commanders the following Sunday in Madrid on the following Sunday, week 11. And then you have a week 12 bye, and then week 13, you play the Saints. If you lose the next 3 games in embarrassing fashion, the Ravens, Bills, Commanders, not competitive, you're 2-9. All right, you probably fire Mike with 2 weeks to prepare for the Saints coming out of the bye. But if you win 1 or 2 of those games in the next 3, Mike might coach the rest of the way. He might coach the rest of the way anyway. But I'm just telling you, I do not expect a firing from Mike McDaniel anytime soon. I think the soonest he would be fired is Monday or Tuesday following the Madrid game against the Commanders, because you would have 2 weeks to prepare with a bye week. But let me know your prediction. Will Mike McDaniel coach the entire season for Miami? I think it's growing more and more likely that's the case, especially since the Dolphins continue to fight and play well. Let me know your thoughts. All right, we'll round out today's show by highlighting some other players and talking about maybe some trade rumors here. I think it has never been more evident. It would be a catastrophe if you traded Jayen Waddle before the deadline. There has been multiple reports that teams are texting, calling Chris Greer, looking to inquire about Jayen Waddle. And I have said it's a mistake to do so. But if a team offers like 2 first-round picks, you'd have to consider it. No team is going to do that. But he has consistently displayed that he is a wide receiver 1 in the National Football League. Not a 2, a 1. He can be the lead dog on a wide receiver unit and display dominance. The Falcons coming into this game were top 5 in the NFL against wide receivers. They just simply do not allow opposing pass catchers to have a lot of production. They were number 1 against tight ends, and I think 3rd against wide receivers. Waddle went for 99 and a tutty. A.J. Terrell, Mike Hughes, didn't matter, cooking them. He's 26, 3 years left on his deal. I am not trading him. It would be a crazy, crazy mistake. It'd be one of those things where, like, you trade Jayen Waddle, I'm going to Miami to riot, because that's just ridiculous. It was also pretty nice to see Malik Washington have a good game. It was. He was involved in the offense, had a touchdown right before the half on a great scramble drill where Tua flushed the pocket, rolling to his strong side to the left. Malik Washington darting across the goal line to the pylon, makes the catch, extends the ball, touchdown Miami. 4 receptions for him today, 36 yards. Really impressed by Malik Washington. He continues to roll, continues to play well. It was good, man. I liked what I saw from the running backs, as I said a little bit earlier. I mean, you ran the ball 37 times, and 18 carries for Achane, 10 for Gordon, 9 for Wright. I mean, we're going to see more advanced stats. We're going to see more as it comes in from this game. But this might be the most, like, how do I want to put this? Complete game. That's a good word from Coop. I don't know, like, if you were to, this is the way I'll phrase it. If you were to grab a Sharpie, like I got in my hand, and script out on a whiteboard the perfect Miami Dolphins game, I think this is it. You had no turnovers. You had a balanced offensive attack. I mean, you ran it 37 times and threw it 27 times. 28 drops backs with a sack. So you actually had a higher run distribution than pass. You ran the ball efficiently, 3.8 yards per carry. You converted every third and short, fourth and short necessary. Didn't turn the ball over and capitalized in the red zone. And you played complementary football all three phases. Credit to Mike McDaniel, credit to this team and coaching staff for keeping the players' eyes on the prize and playing a good ball. Shout out to them. That'll do it for today's show. We'll have another video out later today, recapping probably some injury news potentially. And we'll be back tomorrow with more content and a live show. Subscribe and join the channel if you haven't already. Go Fins.